everyone, it's Mary Blocker from Mary's Card Cafe, and welcome to my Finding Friday inspiration video. And I cannot tell you how wonderful our spring weather is being in the Pacific Northwest. We have had about a week and a half of beautiful sunny weather reaching into 70, which is awesome. And as I've been doing some walks and things, I just notice all those wonderful succulents. I absolutely love them. You know, they're just hardy. I love the thickness and rubberyness of the plants. From hens and chicks to all sorts of wonderful succulents. My daughter really loves them too. And so I was so inspired by my walks this week that I wanted to create with our Simply Succulent Stamp set and Potted Succulent Dies today. And I also absolutely love using my dies as stencils for adding some color underneath and not necessarily using them as dies. So I'm going to show you that today using our blending brushes. And we're going to just go ahead and get started with this fantastic inspiration day. So I am using the Simply Succulents stamp set and Potted Succulent Dies, which are a bundled saving of 10% off when you buy them in the bundle. And they are in the January to June 2021 mini catalog. And so that's fantastic. All right. So let's go ahead and set that aside. I'm going to bring in my die and a piece of basic white cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my die right on top. Now here's something that you might think about in doing this. You might want to have some washi tape or something that you can use to hold your die in place. I actually am just going to go out on a limb and do it without. Now I'm going to be using my Stampin' Up blending brushes, and this comes in a pack of 3 blending brushes. They are they have this very soft, rounded bristles, really soft, a flexible arm here, and I oftentimes will use my finger to get more force or less force, depending upon how I use them. So they do come in a pack of 3. You can wash these, just a little cold water will rinse off the watercolor ink quickly, but they may leave a little stain. So my goal is I want to actually get a blending brush for all my colors and put a little label on them so I know which colors they are. So today I'm going to use some mint macaron because I don't know about you, but it's the perfect color for some succulents. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring this here. I am going to be trimming off a little bit, so I'm not too concerned about its overlap. In fact, if you want to be using washi tape, you probably want your paper to be a little bit larger. So I'm just going around and doing a little rubbing, and I'm not going to worry about rubbing off the side here because I need this ink to get down into those crevices of the die. Now you know the die has some thickness to it obviously, and so I want to make sure that ink gets down there. What I love about using this die as a stencil, you can use embossing paste or the inks like I'm doing here. You can also use the spritzing tubes and put some color in there and just spritz a background on. Would be very, very pretty. So there's just lots of things you can do besides running it through a die cut to get color or other things onto it. As you can see, I'm holding it quite firmly because I'm not using any washi tape or anything to secure and hold it down. Now, when I'm making this stencil for my ink, what I really love about this is I'm going to get some variations of color, some deeper, and I can go as dark or as light as I want to all the way around. And I think that's got a great amount of color on it. So I think I'm going to end right there. And then we can see our surprise when I pull this out. And look at that. Is that not gorgeous? That mint macaron is just so beautiful and deep, and I just love kind of like that negative print idea that it has. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. This will soften up as it dries. I just need to grab my trimmer. Trimmer. Here it is. I needed my trimmer that actually had my cutting blade on it. So that is just beautiful, isn't it? So I'm going to go trim this off, and I'm going to have this be a 3 3/4 by 5 piece. So I'm going to take a little bit off each side until I get there. So I'm going to go with my 3 3/4 first. I'm taking a 1/4 inch off each of those sides to bring it down just a little bit. And then the same thing here. I want it to be 5, so I'm going to go 5 1/4 first. And then I'll turn it around and go to 5. I'm using it as a layering piece today. There we are. I love my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. It's very lightweight, cuts really well. All right, so let's see what else I have here. I have a piece of our basic white thick cardstock cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And then I have a layer of our mint macaron that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then now my beautiful stencil here that I have. I just absolutely love the colors. Reminds me so much of those succulents. So let's go ahead and just adhere this down. There we go. My quiet Stampin' Seal. I'm amazed at how quiet that cartridge is. It's very nice. Okay, and I can actually adhere this down to the front of the card as well. All right. They're expecting that we're going to have several days of rain now and falling back into the 60s, but it is quite a beautiful day out. Sunshiny again today, so we'll see what happens there. All right, now what are we going to do with this beautiful background? Well, I'm going to bring in another piece of our basic white. This time it's not thick, and I'm going to bring in the beautiful potted succulents, just this big arrangement of succulents here. I absolutely love this one from the stamp set. And I'm going to bring in StazOn. Just want it to have a nice, deep, rich outline. So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And I'm going to stamp off on my mat. And then without washing or cleaning it off, I'm going to ink it up again. This is just going to help me get a very even and deep outline color. Doesn't really matter where I stamp because I'm going to be doing some colors onto here. I'm going to close up my StazOn. Now, another thing that I'm going to talk about, since I am going to be die cutting this out using the dies, I wanted to do a little bit different things in coloring. I didn't want to spend a lot of time using my markers or my Stampin' Blends or color pencils. So I thought since I was using my blending brushes, I would pull in our sponge daubers that Stampin' Up! Has. Now, I want to show you something. Now, you can get your sponge daubers at any local craft store or anything like that, but I want to show you the difference between the ones that are Stampin' Up! And the ones that are not. Now, this particular dauber that I have, you can see, if I hold it up, you can see that it has a bunch of tiny little pill-like things. That is because the minute I try to do any kind of rubbing with it, it all flakes off, and that's what's happened with this one. Now this is a Stampin' Up! Dauber, and as you can see, it's very clean. I've used it. It's very held together nicely, and it's just a better high quality product. So since I already used this one with our mint macaron, that's not a Stampin' Up! One I've discovered, because of course you can get them, you know, in any craft store. I probably picked them up somewhere, but I was thoroughly disappointed. Now when I come in with my dauber, I'm just going to be daubing around. I always do daub off because I don't want any hard blops on my image. Now what's unfortunately here is I cannot do much rubbing because I like to sometimes, you know, have the color kind of go out. I want to give that succulent a little bit of lightness in the center there and a little bit deeper in some parts. There we are. See how cute that is? Not going to be concerned about going outside the line at all, but instant color just by using a dauber. I'm going to go ahead and just let that be. I love those different shades. It's a little bit lighter in the center there, as you see. I'm now going to pull in Highland Heather because Highland Heather and Mint Macaron is such a beautiful color combination, I find. And here we go. I'm going to come in now, and with the Stampin' Up! Ones, I can do a little bit of circular motion as well as just blotting. And I'm going to bring all of these to be the Highland Heather. I just love the softness of the look of the daubing. It kind of mimics what I did over here. And I think I'm even going to bring these and let these all be Highland Heather too. Let them be just a little bit lighter consistency. And again, I'm not worried about going outside the lines because I'm going to die cut this out. There we go. And I just looked over and I have my die cut machine sitting over on the counter instead of bringing it over here where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to have to run and grab that really quick. Now I have crushed curry. I wanted to go with a yellow that wasn't brassy or bright. And crushed curry is a great, great yellow color. Doesn't that look great? I almost want to come in with my crushed curry and give a little bit of color on those. That's kind of fun. I like that. There we go. Isn't that great? Instant color, just perfectly with that. And so we have that. Another thing that I'm going to do is we're going to be using this die, of course, to die cut this out. And I'm also going to use this little, plant vines there. And I'm going to use this little tag. So now that I have that tag there, let me grab that Stays On pad again and get the little hello, or thanks, hello, my thanks stamp. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp my thanks. Ooh, you know what? I need to wait on that because it depends on when I die cut out. I want to just use this paper if I can to stamp that. And so I'm just going to grab my die cut machine. I apologize, you guys. Stick with me. I'm using my mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine today. We're going to set that aside. Just getting ready for some in-person events that I'm starting back up. I'm going to bring you out just a little bit here. There we go. I know this looks like it may not fit through here, but I am pretty confident that it can go through the mini. There we are. There we go. Look at how nice that is done up. Isn't that pretty? All right, I'm going to set that aside and let's see where I might be able to get this guy die cut out from. I'm not sure that I left enough room for myself. Oh, that's all right. I'll just grab another little piece here. There we go. And notice this piece is a little bit larger than the plates that are here. It's not a problem at all for the mini because the die cut machine has a little space between there, so it's okay if your paper overhangs a little bit. There we go. Now we got our little tag. I usually would stamp first and then die cut out the tag, but that worked out just fine. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and die cut out our these little fun, I don't know what to call them. They're just kind of the hangy little greenery that you would have. I'm just going to do one of those I think I have a couple of them already die cut out sitting around, so we'll use those that I have already done. All right. So now where you live, if you live in a nice warm climate, you probably have all sorts of succulents growing in your area. They've become such a popular trend. Yeah, I've got a couple done already. Okay. Now I can do my thanks. Go ahead and bring you back down a little bit closer. There we are. All right, so now I will bring the Stays On pad back in. I'm going to do the thanks. There we are. Very cute. Fits perfectly right in that stitched scalloped rectangle. Now let's bring my card back in and the pieces. So I'm going to have this going here. And then I thought I would tuck. I love the white, kind of bringing back the white parts of kind of the negative of the sponging I did with the die. Bring a few in like that. And then I think that's going to go thanks right there. I love it. So first thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to raise this up with dimensionals. That is going to be my idea for that. I'll put one in the middle for so it doesn't sink in the middle. That right in the center. There we go. Now I can just bring in a little bit of my liquid glue. Put a little couple of dabs here and there. And then slide this right underneath there. You can have them coming out as far as you want, or have them as short as you'd like. You don't need a lot of this glue. This liquid glue is very strong. Oh, and it's so nice too. I was worried that I was going to run into my the dimensionals. There we go. That one did run into the dimensionals, but that's okay. Now, I don't want these glued down all the way, but it looks like this one really wants to be. Want them to have a little bit of lift, give it dimension, right? And then this little guy is going to come right in here. Now I do notice I am going to need one dimensional just on this edge. I'll use a little bit of my liquid glue since I have it out. And that's going to adhere right here. And then the dimensional, since this flower is all raised up, that will be raised as well right there, but not over on this side, because then it would be kind of wonky, catawonkus. Okay, we're going to set that aside. That is really cute. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry for a minute. And I'm going to do a little stamping here. I have thanks on the front, and then this is a stamp that says you make the ordinary extraordinary. And so I want to do that as well. And I'm going to use the Stays On pad for that as well. I always like to see that it's going to ink up well before I stamp it. So you make the ordinary extraordinary. That is really cute, but now let's go ahead and pull in our little flower. Just another cute little flower here. And I'm going to ink that up, stamp it off, and I'm going to do that little flower right here and right here. Very cute. And then you know what I'm going to do, of course. You know I'm going to grab my dauber, and let's do our Mint Macaron color. just to keep that mint macaron. Close up my StazOn before I make a mess, you guys. Okay, my dauber for my mint macaron. Now I'm going to be a little more careful here. Try not to go out of the lines too much, but that's the idea of it. It's just making kind of a cloudy little color spot. It's kind of fun. I like using these daubers, they're fun. Great way to add color. Give a little fuzziness look to it, right? I think that's great. Okay, let's go ahead and finish off our card today. So this card is going to be one of the cards that participants will make for my Simply Succulents specialty class. In this class, participants will make 4 cards and one little packaging or special project. And it's going to be the 3rd weekend in May, in person or to go. And I will have lots of information on that soon on my blog, and you can check out all the information for that. But I was so inspired today with the Simply Succulents stamp set and those beautiful, beautiful die pieces. If you haven't noticed, take a look outside and see if you can find some succulents, because they are just awesome. They're also very easy to keep. They don't need a whole lot. Don't need a whole lot of watering or anything. So I hope you enjoyed my project today, you guys. And if this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, thank you for joining. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and bell so you're notified whenever I do a video so you don't miss out on any. Give me a thumbs up if you would, and leave me a comment, you guys. Tell me what you liked about this particular card. I'd love to chat. So until next time, guys, happy stampin'.